Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm Mike of Spectre Comics. Today we're going to continue our How to Draw Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles series with Donatello. We've already done Leonardo and Michelangelo videos. Those will be linked in the description below if you haven't seen them, so go check them out. And then we're going to follow this video up with a How to Draw Raphael. Once we have all four turtles, we're going to combine them into one large image, and then we're going to do a video on how to color the whole thing. So stay tuned and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss that one. Anyway, we're going to jump right into the Donatello video, and I'm going to show you and explain how I did it. So let's get to it. So we're going to start out by looking at the original composition where we had Leonardo and Michelangelo kind of set into a drawing. Then we're going to start our drawing process as we normally do by drawing a half-tone skeleton to kind of map out the pose for Donatello. I found a pose online of someone wielding a bow. Bow is Donatello's weapon of choice, so just kind of matching that pose, getting it as similar as possible. One thing I normally do is my turtles tend to always look the same, so I'm trying an experiment with different head shapes so that Donatello can look different from the other turtles. I'll also do the same thing with Raphael to kind of change it up. All turtles, all four turtles look very similar, so it's hard to distinguish who's who unless you look at, their bandana color or what weapon they're wielding. So I'm changing the shape up for Donatello's face so he looks a little different. Also changing the shape of the mask. And I did a couple of little scribbles around the edge to kind of figure out what direction I want him looking in and what pose. So what I normally don't do is finalize the inking part of it, but I wanted to kind of really isolate the face and the head to get it to look unique as opposed to all, in relation to all four turtles. So we're actually going ahead and actually not finalizing it, but getting it pretty close to final and kind of getting the detail in there. This, again, like I said, this is a little more premature than I usually map the whole body out before I start getting into the fine hardline details. But we're going to kind of continue by putting the body parts on the skeleton underlay, starting with the chest plate and the arms, kind of wrapping the shell around the back. The arms are strung back, ready to strike forward. He's holding his bow in his left hand and ready to swing it forward. The legs are bent. He's kind of squatting close to the ground. It looks like he's in action right now, like he just attacked an enemy, jumped back, and is ready to strike the next enemy. Now, as part of the composition, you have Michelangelo looking off to the right, you have Leonardo kind of looking and leaping in the center, and then you have Donatello kind of looking to the left as they're all kind of gathering together to kind of defend themselves from the attacking Foot Clan or whatever enemy is surrounding them. So I'm actually looking at this composition. I'm not sure where I'm going to end up putting Raphael. I might have to relay this whole thing out and move the turtles around and get him in a good pose. Anyway, to get back to the Donatello drawing, as I normally do, and I always explain in my other videos, I start out really loose and sketchy with my lines, following my underlay halftone skeleton pose as the guide to where the body parts are. So in this case, Donatello's position dictates that his chest is a little concave, so it kind of curves inward. The legs and arms are kind of sprawled out in different directions. The legs are, his right leg is kind of tight and bent, and the knee pointing towards the ground, and the left leg is planted in a position ready to push forward in the next strike. So, I'm really trying to capture the action here with this pose. And another unique aspect of the way that he's positioned here is that a lot of his arms and legs are in unique positions, not a normal resting position. They're very kind of like, got kinetic energy building up, ready to strike forward. But it also changes the angle of a lot of the body parts. The arms are kind of tilted backwards. The shoulders are forward. The knee is pointed down. One knee is outstretched to the left, and with the foot and the heel planted. The hands are backwards, so it's a unique position for the hands. So as I use my skeleton to kind of dictate where the pieces are, I'm using the it's a unique position that the hands are in, so they're kind of facing back. You're almost looking at the side and the back, the top of the hand, rather than looking at the hand straight on. If using the skeleton as the base, it shows us where all our joints are: the shoulders, the elbows, the wrists, the knees, the ankles, and then again, as all of the turtles, the way I draw them, have pads on their knees and elbows for protection. again, very loose lines. We're going ahead and cleaning up the sketchy lines and kind of thickening them. Notice my use of line weights here. I'm trying to, use line thicknesses and tapers to kind of depict how things fade into the distance. So you can see the muscle that comes off the chest and goes into the bicep, how it tapers off into the bicep. And Donatello traditionally is the geek, the techno nerd of the group. And what I wanted to do is give him a little more, in addition to his bow, to give him a little more technology. He's wearing like a watch of some sort, maybe it's a mini computer. And I'm giving him a couple more other features that the other turtles don't have, such as additional straps on his belt, straps that cross the chest, and some wrist straps and some ankle straps as well. Now the hands were very challenging. Just the way they're positioned, they were the angle is a little more difficult to draw. Yeah, I had to look at a lot of different images to kind of figure out how to draw the hands here. Again, always use reference images. You can take a pose. You go online, you look up a specific pose, find one you like, and then you can match it. And again, you're not trying to copy, line for line what the image is, but you're trying to get the flavor of the pose. And kind of it helps you see where things are, how things fade back, how the arms are foreshortened going back, how the left or his right leg, but left on the paper, is kind of positioned back behind the thigh. And notice how the left foot is, the foot on the left side is planted with the balls of the feet hitting the ground and the heel up. Again, I try to use a lot of basic shapes to start. This looks like a complex drawing, but a lot of the shapes are very basic. Again, all the joints I represented with spheres, and all the arms and the legs, the muscles are very simple cylinders that you can taper and thicken and thin it out based on the muscle tone. But they start out as simple shapes like cylinders. Wrapping the shell around the back, I actually created a new layer for the shell, because what's happening is I want to make sure that the shell continues around and goes through. So if I create its own layer to get that done, it allows me to kind of connect the shell. And the shell is basically an oval that goes all the way around the back, but it's obviously broken up when it crosses a leg or an arm. However, by continuing, creating its own layer, I can kind of draw that oval continuously without having to kind of guess where it stops and starts around the arms and the legs. Then I just erase where it's gone. Again, keeping the lines really sketchy and loose. You'll notice me erasing and changing a lot of things, because as I look at them, they don't look right. So I go back and I fix it. It's a lot of times it's just trial and error. Get the lines where you want them and what looks good and what looks right. Going back again, doing some additional features like leg straps, ankle straps. I was tempted to wrap his feet because the characters in the movie from the last series of movies had a lot more decoration on their part of their uniform, like waist wraps and wraps around their feet and hands. I like to keep my turtles relatively simple, but give them a couple of each unique features to kind of make them look different from one another. I do a lot of this I'm doing as separate layers. Notice I half toned the final Donatello layer so that I can kind of get the elbow pads and the knee pads and the straps and the wraps around the wrists and ankles in there. And then once I finish putting those in correctly, then I can go ahead and erase the layer underneath separately. Just trying to get the lines, again, finalize where I want them, and working in different layers. Here's me adding some straps, some leather straps that wrap around his waist and kind of crisscross across his chest and go around the back. And that, Leonardo and Donatello, because of the types of weapons that they hold, you want straps that go across the chest so that they can store their weapon on their back in the strap that goes across. Whereas Michelangelo has just a waist wrap, and that's where he stores his nunchucks when he's not using them, when he's not in battle. So again, getting the lines, real sketchy and loose, and then cleaning them up as I go. I always talk about the technique where I like to rotate the paper and draw down towards myself, giving myself more control over the pen. I can rest my hand on my tablet and draw down. It gives me a lot more control. I can get a lot more smoother, sharp lines by doing that. I used the polygonal marquee to create the bow, and then I wanted to wrap it with some in the center for grip with some fabric wraps. And now we're just going ahead and starting to clean up all the things that are separate layers. We're kind of thickening some of the the perimeter lines, and then drawing the bandana straps that stream off. I always like to show the streamers from the bandana in action, as if they're moving and flowing in the air as they're kind of swinging around and attacking. And now we're just going to get Donatello located in the right spot as part of the composition, and that is getting close to being done. I'm going to just add some shadows at the base and erase where they're standing. Again, this is going to be part of a larger composition. I got to find somewhere to put Raphael. What I'd like to actually do for the Raphael video is have him kind of 3/4 turned all the way back so that you see the back of the shell, because in this composition I have not drawn a turtle shell yet. You can't, you haven't been able to really see the shell and the texture of the shell. All you've seen is kind of the edge of it around their bodies. So anyway, that is how to draw Donatello. Again, it's not so much a step-by-step of how to draw him. Is more of, I'm talking through the process of drawing him, the different techniques I use to kind of lay out the character, using the skeleton and then using simple shapes to kind of fill in the body parts around. All of this is about, for the turtles, it's all about their pose, and we're doing an action scene where they're all attacking and defending and kind of working together as a group, as the turtles usually do. I'm tempted to put Splinter in this scene, but I've actually never drawn Splinter, as strange as it is, because I've drawn turtles my whole life. Anyway, so that's it for this video on how to draw a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle featuring Donatello. Hope you found the video fun and helpful and informative. Let me know if you have any questions on how I composed the drawing, how I created the line work and the artwork. Again, this is going to be part of a larger composition. Our next video is going to be how to draw Raphael. Hope you had fun watching the video and following along. Give the video a thumbs up if you liked it. Give it a thumbs down if you really hated it. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next couple of videos. And thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Have a nice day.